Hi, everyone. Let's see, am I on? Hi, everyone. This is day 2 of our zinc deficiency and immunity. And I'm your host, Mihaela Gruita, the naturopathic pharmacist. And last week, we talked a little bit about zinc and zinc deficiency and how these two are connected with our health or immune system health. And starting this week, we are going to discuss causes for zinc deficiencies. And probably one of the most common causes or important causes is our diet. Um, Diets high in sugar or carbohydrates causes zinc deficiency because sugars pull zinc out of our system. And so if you consume a lot of carbohydrates, such as in the sad American diet, you most likely are experiencing some level of zinc deficiency. Also, because our crops are sprayed heavily with glyphosate. In fact, in 2007, about 80,000 metric tons of glyphosate were sprayed over the crops. And this glyphosate, what it does, it binds to the zinc and it prevents it from being absorbed. So again, if you are heavily into the South American diet that is predominantly filled with flour, all kinds of flour type of foods like bread and cookies and muffins and all kinds of stuff like that. And so basically, just by virtue of what you're eating, you might be zinc deficient. Another reason is low stomach acid. And stomach acid influences both the zinc. So when we are low in stomach acid, zinc cannot be absorbed. And we also need zinc to make stomach acid. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle. A popular set of drugs are the antacids. And so these antacids will cause the stomach acid to be decreased. And these antacids are everything from Tums, which we call antacids, but there are also drugs like the H2 blockers, drugs like Pepcid, or the PPIs, the protein pump inhibitors. These are drugs like Protonix and lansoprazole and omeprazole. And all these drugs are over-the-counter drugs, but they also can be prescribed. And there's other antacids that can only be prescribed by your physician. And all these drugs have been brought to the market for the purpose of reducing stomach acid in an effort to alleviate acid reflux. However, if you take a look at all these drugs, to the list of their side effects, they all cause what's called achlorhydria. Achlorhydria basically means that you do not have any acid in your stomach. And granted, this happens when you use these drugs long term and in higher doses. And so just because you might be taking one time here and there, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get achlorhydria. Now, if you've been on a proton pump inhibitor for years, you might be there. And if you look at the causes for, or what causes, like if you have achlorhydria, what will that cause? Well, that will cause acid reflux. So in other words, if you don't have acid, you're going to have acid reflux. And so we have two problems here. One is basically a vicious cycle. You have acid reflux, for which you take antacids. The antacids will cause achlorhydria, and achlorhydria will cause acid reflux. So this is a vicious cycle. And the other problem is that you do need the stomach acid to make, you need zinc to make acid, and you need a stomach acid to absorb zinc. So this is another vicious cycle. If you don't have enough acid, you're not going to absorb the zinc, and you need the zinc to make the stomach acid. So these are two problems that we might come across when we take antacids long term. And what, again, if we remember from what we talked about last week, we discussed how low zinc basically lowers your immune system, the efficiency of your immune system. And so that not only will cause you to get infections, all kinds of infections, including the common cold, the flu, and potentially other type of infections, bacterial infections, but also when the immune system is low, when the zinc level in our body is low, our immune system might not be able to prevent cancer. And so I often get on Facebook, but also in my email, I get all these ads from lawyers advertising that if you have been on these drugs for a while and you developed cancer, this they might be able to compensate you. And so if you ever wondered what's that got to do with anything, how do the antacids and cancer are related, it is because of the lack, or because the antacids will cause poor absorption of zinc, and so the immune system will not be as efficient to protect you from developing cancer. So the only reason I'm pointing that out is just to make you aware that these drugs, just because they're over the counter, they're not benign. That doesn't mean they're safe. And so any medication you take, you should be focusing to take it short term, and then during that time, always try to figure out what is the root cause of your initial symptoms. So if you are suffering with acid reflux and you've been taking antacids for it, try to figure out what is causing your acid reflux, so you will be able to get off those antacids in order to help your immune system, to boost your immune system, and to prevent infections and even cancer. So that's what I had for today, and I will be staying a little longer, so if you have questions, please write them down and I'll answer them now. And also remember that if you have more questions about your drugs and your supplements, your vitamins, I have a group, drug nutrient interactions, and within the context of that group, I will answer all kinds of questions related to your drugs and supplements. So basically, write questions, I'll try to answer them, and if not, I will be live again next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. and we are going to talk about yet another class of drugs that can lower your zinc level in your body, therefore lowering your immunity and making you more susceptible to various infections and even potentially cancer. Talk to you later.